Good afternoon and welcome to GeoLytics, learning about our products. Today I want to talk to you about when you're using our thematic maps, the difference between counts and ranges as two different ways of dividing the data. The data that we're looking at right now is all of the counties in the US, and we're looking at them by median household income. At the moment, we're looking at it in 5 equal counts. And what that means is we've taken all of the different households and we've divided them so that each one of the groupings of the 5 different income brackets is going to have 645 or 644 counts within that. What that does is it then allows you to see what's the income for the bottom 20%, the next 20%, the middle 20%, the upper 80%, and then the highest 20%. So you'll see when you look at this, the areas in the range are the 645, and range number 1 then is going to go from an income of $0 to $51,691. So the bottom 20% are going to have a household income of $51,695. The next 20% are going to have an income then of the $51,691 through $59,808. So you can see that this 20% is a very small change in income. It includes 20% of the population of the households, but it's really only an $8,000 span. The next 20% is only going to be a $7,000, $8,000 span again. And part of that is that it really means that 60% of the population is going to be making less than $66,994. The top 80% will then go from 67,000 to 76. Again, this is only, a 10,000 range. The top 20%, however, will go from 76,000 to 178,000, which means there's a huge variety of incomes in that last 20%, but the top income then begins at 76,000. When instead of looking at it by equal counts, we change this here to equal ranges. What that says is instead make the income buckets the same amount of differential. So if we're going to go from 0 to 178,000, each one of them will be about 35,000. So if we have the bucket of how many people make between 0 and $35,000, you'll see it's only 112,000 counties have that as their median household income. The second one is by far the largest one, and that has 2,173 counties in the range from 35 to 71, which is not a surprise because we saw that 80% of the population is going to be under the 76,000. And then you'll see this is the same rate, but here we're going from 71 to 107. From 107 to 142, there's only 92 counties in the whole country, and you can see them highlighted on the map for where those are located. And then the very top income, the 142,000 to 178,000, there are actually only 9 counties in the whole country that are in this top level, and you can see them then highlighted on the map. To get to this, all you're going to do is you will have selected the variable that you want to see, and you just change here from equal range to equal count. You also here can change, this is showing it by 5, but you could decide instead you wanted to see it in 7 or in 10 different ranges, and it will then just keep shifting that as you change it. The other thing you can do, instead of seeing it in a blue scale, if you were going to be printing it out, you could do it in black and white scale so that it's easier for you to print, and it will then show the map will come up all in a gray scale. You also sorry, you could, in a grayscale. You also can instead do it in green if you were doing it for money and you want people to see that in green or blue or red. So these are the things that you can affect and change when you're looking at our thematic maps and when you're looking at the charts that are associated with it. Thank you very much for joining us and learning more about how our map viewer works on the GeoLytics products.